Welcome to Wellthing Talks. I am your host, Alicia Castillo Holley, bringing you real-life conversations from Silicon Valley or somewhere around the world. We will talk about disruptors, angel investments, venture capital, and of course, family offices. Join me along with my children, their families, friends, disruptors, and investors as we explore the fascinating world of creating wealth in a completely different and authentic way. Well, hello, everyone. It is such a pleasure to introduce Fabiano to you. Fabiano, thank you so much for being here. We had so many laughs just a few minutes ago. Welcome.
It's such an honor, Alicia. Thank you so much. Gracias.
Yeah, we're going to go in English. I know you speak many languages.
In English, I know.
Yeah. So Fabiano, what are you doing now and how did you get here?
Okay, that's a good question. So my title is Chief Solutions Officer. Powerling is the company that I'm working with. I got here by chance. I was a bit lost. I thought I would be an actor, and then I tried foreign service as a diplomat. It didn't work. And then I became a translator by chance. There was an ad on the newspaper. And then I founded my own company in 99. It's a funny story. We can go back there.
No. Tell us the funny story. That's a good story. That's a
I think
part.
this is the closest that I will get to what you do. But I remember I was in New York and I had just opened the company. It was 2000 or 1999. So I was there and I went to see my investment advisor and I told him, listen, I'm working with localization. Localization is this new thing. And they were talking about the internet bubble bursting. And I said, the good thing about localization, internationalization is that computers are here to stay. So they're not going anywhere. And companies will globalize because, the US market is not big enough. So they will go global. And this is what we're going to do. And he said, wow, this is fantastic. And I don't know whether there was a good pitch. He said, I have to introduce you to someone. And I think we're just talking about it. I think at that time, everybody was like, yeah, do you need money? Get some money. So I sat down and started talking to this venture capital lady. She represented a group of pensioners. And we were talking, and then I had a laptop at home, and that was it. I had just come back from London, and I had a website and the logo that was cute, but that was it. And she said, okay, we can start with $1 million, but then when we reach a certain level, like 5 or 10 or 15, we need to bring in a professional executive. And this is the problem that we have because owners tend to be attached to the company, so they don't let go of their babies. And I said, who me? Take the baby, $10 million. I'll take the baby. Take the baby. I don't care. So, and then after that, the bubble burst. There was no money. There was not million, not one, not five, not 10. And it took me a while to get to the point where we sold the company in 2018. But the goal was always to sell the company, but we did in 2018. I moved to Canada 3 years later because of COVID. I decided to move there, but then COVID hit and I moved to Canada. So, and then in 2024, we sold the company again. So this is my second exit, and I never go away. I exit, but I come back. And I am still a shareholder in the new company, and I'm also an executive chief solutions officer. This is more or less how I got here.
And what does the company do?
We do global content solutions. We come from language services. This is still the main share of our revenue. But more recently, as I joined the company, they were already toying with that idea. But I saw the possibility of really repositioning ourselves as a global content solutions partner. So we had they had made a few acquisitions, and there were these scattered pieces that I started making sense of them. So there was the data collection or area that was already working in that space. There was a company that they had bought that did technical writing. Another company that they had bought that was language technology, dealing with already machine translation for the past 30 years, but also very much AI focused. And then the marketing division as well. So I started to make sense. And I said, we're now creating content as opposed to transforming content, which was the translation part. So here we're going to generate content, either AI or human or hybrid. So this is what we're doing now, more or less, a global content solution. So it's a one-stop shop content management. Um,
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, we met at a geolocation conference with Anna. You remember that?
15 women in localization.
Yes,
Yes.
I think that's where I
15.
mean, we exchanged emails before, but
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, one of the things that I really like is when I moved to Chile, luego, which is later, in Chile means now. But in Venezuela, where I'm from, and in most Spanish-speaking countries, luego
It's soon.
is later, whenever you have time.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And
Okay.
I had a ton of stories like that when I moved to Chile. I lived in Chile 7 years. Lots of stories like that. What are they saying? What are they doing? And my kids were like, what? Why at the beginning? My kids, we grew up in different countries and they spoke different languages, but also different cultures. And I loved what you guys were doing because I was, I was a victim of using language without the local concept or the local,
Yeah.
framework. So that, and in Mexico, luego, later, later means hurry up right now. Think
Luego,
about it.
luego.
Yeah, later, later. What do you mean later, later? And in so many ways, I made him full of myself when I was teaching at the university. So I really like that concept, and I think people tend to make translations directly, and we see that also in the U.S. So what means for one person, the same thing that a word that means something to one person doesn't mean
Completely
something for the other
different. Yeah.
person. Yeah, and
And how
yeah, go ahead.
and how to adapt the content to each market. It's very interesting how, sometimes even a color may change the perception or the words exactly. So it's a little bit more than translation that we do for sure.
Yes, yes. Do you have any sort of juicy example that you can share?
Like
Do you have an
anecdotes.
interesting example?
Um, Let me think about it. There are some, we have a lot of stories about errors or choices for brands that didn't go so well. There are some, I think, a little bit too juicy. I don't
No,
remember
no,
them.
no. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll keep laughing at that. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
This is not translation, but I do remember when I was an academic, one of our one of my friend's professors said that after 2 years he realized he had made a comment to a person that was trying to publish, and instead of saying now, he put not, and
Oh, wow.
and so it completely changed the feedback, and that person felt insulted. But he found out 2 years later, and yeah,
Oh, dear.
so that was.
Yeah.
I remember when I was starting to learn English, I used to tell my neighbor across the street. I was 15 or 16. I used to tell my neighbors, I don't stand you, but what I meant was I don't understand you. But I was just learning
Oh,
English.
wow.
He never
Yeah.
told me that, and like 5 years later, we meet. And I said,
Oh,
how
you
you
did.
doing? And I give him a hug, and he's like, Michael is his name. He's like, what happened? I said, what do you mean what happened? And he said, you didn't like me. What do you mean I didn't like you? I mean, you were my neighbor. You were so nice. I said, every time I talk to you, you say, I can't stand you. Did I say that? And he said, yeah. Oh, how could I say that? He said, yeah, I don't know. You were so
Something
nice. And
else.
then suddenly you can't stand me and you're smiling. So I didn't know what to say. And then it clicked. I said, Oh, I was probably meaning I can't understand you. Oh my gosh, that was so
So
funny.
cute.
Yeah. But yeah, so life is full of surprises. So
It
in that
is.
tone, if you were if you were to write a note to yourself, to the younger Fabiano, like a
Yeah.
20-year-old Fabiano, uh, what would you tell yourself that you know now that you didn't know? What it's like, remember, if you were to write a letter, dear my younger self.
A recommendation.
Okay.
I think, um, career-wise, it would be don't give up on studying. I think, and I have this little theory that we have kind of a loss of talent when you grow, when my generation, Gen X, growing queer, we were talking about this earlier. Being a gay boy in Brazil, it wasn't easy. So I think I was a straight A student. But when I started struggling with my sexuality, I think I started rebelling against that, you know, do perfect Fabiano, and I wanted to be something different. And I think I kind of lost my way. So if I could um, recommend something to this younger self, would be things will be good. You don't have to rebel against everyone and everything. Just follow your path. Things will improve. And yeah, but it's hard. I would never be able to say it then. The way things changed over time, it got so much easier these days, even not only for me, but for the new generation. But I think it had a big impact, and I think it affected a lot of people in that sense who, were striving to find their way and ended up either being unhappy or finding career paths that were not exactly. I think I would be a wonderful person if I worked in advertising. That was my dream. And then I didn't want to study anymore. And I thought, oh, this is too difficult. I'm just going to study language and literature because this is easy. I didn't want to go to university. And my father said, in Brazil, if you go to jail, if you have a university degree, you have special cell, so you will have a university degree because
Oh
if
my
you go,
God.
yeah. So that's one of the reasons that I did it, because I wanted to be an actor and I was like pursuing this, I was obsessed with the possibility of being an actor, but career-wise, it didn't work. So yeah, I think it had to do with the fact that I was struggling with my sexuality and being, everything that was happening and being, I I, I studied at a very strict school. So, and I was very artistic. So I wish I had a better balance or gave myself a pat on the back and said, take it easy. It's gonna work. You can find this balance later. But we get anxious.
Well, I think most people go through that actually.
Yeah,
Adolecer, adolescence in Spanish means to miss something. There's something missing in you. And
that's so
so,
cute.
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, and I remember when I had my kids, and my kids are late 30s. My son is 40 now, but one of the jokes that I tell founders and other investors is like, you can tell me
Mm.
anything. I already had teenagers, and they laugh. But the truth is that it is a very interesting period, and I think a lot of people struggle regardless. You struggle with your image, with the expectations,
Yeah.
because everything is rosy when you're small. What do you think helped you? What was the most important thing that helped you go through that phase that could be challenging and it could happen to anybody at any time?
I think it took longer than I expected, but moving to London when I was 24 changed my life completely. I was living with my parents when I was 24. I had just broken up with my girlfriend of 2 years. We were engaged to be married. And I came out and I decided I went to London first, to Brighton first to do intercambio, like an English
Exchange. Mhm.
course, exchange. And then after 2 months, I came back and I said, I need to go back. So I went to London and it changed my life completely. I was no longer living with my parents. I had to learn how to, learn things on my own and to do things on my own. And the first 3 months were hell. I thought, this is, what am I doing here? I was selling sandwiches at, corporate offices, and
Oh,
I it's a funny story. So a Brazilian friend came over and he said, we're going to the club on Sunday. And I said, I cannot go to the club on Sunday because I don't wake up because I have this, I'm a heavy sleeper. And he said, no, don't worry. I'm going to wake you up. And I said, you're not going to wake me up and I'm going to lose. He said, well, what I expected to happen. We went to the club. I didn't wake up. And I called the guy, said, oh, I had this asthma attack. I went to the hospital and said, I don't care. I lost money. You're working for me for 2 weeks with not pay. And I did. So I was like, I didn't have what to eat. I ate a sandwich that I sold. That's all I had. But then I learned, and after the 3 months, or I started making a lot of money doing translation. Um, and my life changed completely. So I started studying a lot and learning about how to be an entrepreneur and how to have my own business and what the market needed. So I started doing things that were more business oriented. But at that time also I said I have to cut ties with my artistic self. So because I'm a little chaotic, so I need to focus. Otherwise, I will be too,
artistic.
so artistic. Exactly. So I needed to be, and for me, it's hard to have this flexibility. I think today I found it, but I'm 55, so I hope. I'm glad that at some point I learned how to balance the two, but at that point it was difficult. So I had to be more focused. But yes, to answer your question, it was moving to London and staying there for 2 years. And I mean, London, 9 to 6. It was insane. Yeah.
Well, I think moving. Well, I moved many times to many countries, and usually, well, it depends on the country, but usually, the first few months is like, what am I doing? Why do I do this to myself? Until I sort of, and I miss everything from the previous country. But I do think that moving countries, putting oneself in uncertain situations opens up, helps you learn a lot about yourself and resilience and creativity, and that's really fun. How
Interesting.
let me move back to wealthing, which is a concept that we were discovering. This is the first time I bring that to our podcast, so I just talked to you about that. Um, how do you think we create
Responsibility.
wealth? Yeah, that's a new question. I'm very excited about that. After a year of doing the podcast, I'm adding this. How do you think we create wealth?
Are we talking about personal wealth? Are we talking about community
I
wealth?
just asked the
Is
question.
it
You figure
very,
out.
yeah,
You figure out
okay.
how you're gonna answer.
I think focus is a way of creating personal wealth in a way. For me, wealth is to have money enough to have a comfortable life. I don't think I would ever be interested, even if I had the possibility of having too much money. I think I would feel even uncomfortable. But I think wealth is a balance. It's life, wealth in life is a balance of many things. It's we need love, we need friendship, we need accomplishment, the feeling of accomplishment at work, and of course we need money to pay for champagne and expensive dinners and the spa. We do. How do we get there? I think focus is what leads us there. And but focus is a very expensive currency if you think about it, because you need to have the comfort, the peace of mind, the health, and the environment that allows you to focus on whatever you are targeting, mostly your career or your business if you're an entrepreneur, or even investments like you do. Yeah, I would say focus because I don't have that much. I think I learned how to have it. I had to practice a lot to have focus because, as I said, I'm a little all over
Artistic.
the place. Artistic. That's a nicer word.
Yeah, well, I have a sister who's like that. So she's there. I'm a scientist by training, so very methodical in a lot of things. But
You
I
know,
have
I'm so tempted to ask you so many questions, but no, I'm not the host.
this is your podcast. This is you're the guest. No, 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 no,
I
no.
know, I know. We
I
have to
ask the
do.
questions. You
I'm
no,
gonna
no, no,
have
no,
you
no.
on mine. Yes.
Don't change it. Do not change it.
Don't
No.
change.
Ce
Don't
n'est
touch
pas
the table.
possible. No, 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 no. Where is the future for you? Where are you heading to now?
Spain.
La madre
Geographically,
patria.
sí, la madre patria. I was living in Canada for 4 years, and the winter is brutal. So I'm escaping the winter in the northern hemisphere. Spent some time in Rio, went to Bahia, my favorite place on earth, Salvador de Bahia. Now I'm in Buenos Aires for a month, and then we're moving to Spain.
¿To
What
Madrid?
if you
¿Barcelona? ¿Valencia?
Valencia, Valencia.
Valencia. Yeah, de
Yeah.
paella.
Exacto, sí,
De
y
paella.
la paella valenciana, ¿no? Sí.
Sí, sí, sí. Sí, that's where paella is
Um,
from.
I'm excited. What the future brings, it's hard to predict. I had a very stable life until I was 50, and suddenly life pulled the carpet under me. It just said, "Oh, you think you're all comfortable? I don't think so." So I divorced. I moved to another country. I sold my company. It was like, wow, I'm married again. We're going together to Spain. I'm really excited about it. Completely in love. I think I discovered what love should be, how every relationship should look like. It's been very rewarding, very I struggled after separation, but now I'm happy. So yeah, career-wise, I'm with the company with Powerling, hopefully doing more exciting stuff with them. We'll see.
Good. Good. Then let me just wrap this up. It's been so delightful. I mean, it's
Oh my
the
God.
energy. I just love these podcasts because I learn a lot and I have so much fun. And it's I think it's for me it's very refreshing and for most of our audience as well.
Because
So
you're a darling. Look at you. You are so
we do this
wonderful.
together. Yeah, I
Yes,
only bring fun
yes.
people, so we do this together.
That's
But
true.
so let's end this up. Okay, enseriarse. Let's end this up with a philosophical deep question. Um, and I always end up with that. So when I was 13, I fell off a horse and I was in coma. So I died, but I didn't die fully. And the joke is that they, Papa Dios, because we're very Christian in Venezuela, look at me
Yeah.
and said, you're not good enough. You have to go and
Girl,
maybe
you
live.
go back. You have more stuff to
Yeah,
do.
no, you're not, so people say, oh, you have to leave. No, 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 no. It's like, you're not good enough. Go and earn
That's
your
not
place.
true. That's not
And
true.
although I was a nun, I was very very proper when I was a kid. But what happens is, or at least what happened to me is, I saw myself dead, and I saw myself with, they say, the rope and all of that, and I felt sorry for myself, and then I don't know when I woke up, and I realized that life can go like that, and this is a gift.
Yeah.
So I am very intentional. Talk about intentions and focus. I'm very intentional about making the most of every single minute that I have in this gift that I call life. So, but it's going to end. So I think it is interesting to reflect upon who are we when we're no longer here. And for many of the people that are watching, uh, they might never meet you in person, but you're here for them. So my question to you is, have you thought about who is Fabiano when Fabiano is no longer here? What do you leave? What is your essence?
You have such a sweet voice. You're making me emotional. A lot of things cross my mind, but it's okay. Um, I when I was younger, there was no internet, and I wanted to be part of Enciclopedia Britannica. Do you remember this? It's
I know. I
those
had one. Yeah.
15 volumes with all the knowledge possible. And I wanted to have an entry in encyclopedia. I wanted to be remembered, be someone who would be, but I think it was more about fame, about not power so much, but about fame, something major. These days, I'm more about making a difference in someone's life. Um, I may not have a reach that some other people have had, worldwide reach. I'm thinking, the big names, the big people who really changed the road to the better. But I'd like to think that I've changed a few lives throughout here and make their lives better. Whether they are still close, whether, they're family or people who, cross my path and somehow got a little sprinkle of love and peace. I don't know. Yeah.
Do you think we need more love and peace?
Oh, of course we do. It's so, don't get me started. I do.
Brasiliano, brasileiro. Yeah.
I do. I do. But I'm an optimist. I always think that we're getting there. And I think we're doing one step behind, and then we will do 2 steps ahead again. We need to go back to a more, a time where there was more understanding and more community, feelings of community and peace and love.
Peace and love. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Fabiano, thank you so much for
Oh,
spending this
that
time
was
with us.
so good.
It was fun. It was deep. It was very, very interesting. Thank you so very much for being with us.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you so much. It's beautiful that you're doing this, and it's lovely. So thank you for the opportunity and the honor to be interviewed by you.
But I hope you enjoyed this very, very authentic conversation. Fabiano, I didn't know of his entrepreneurial activity. I did know that he has this very, very keen eye for making things work in terms of translation, and that's how I met. And that's why I wanted to bring him to the podcast. His life experiences are very useful to everybody. It's a very authentic conversation, and I hope you enjoy it. So this is your host, Alicia Castillo Holley, and I'll see you in our next episode. Thanks for tuning in to our Wealthing Talks. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. To stay connected, visit us at wealthing.com. This is Alicia Castillo Holley, your host, and until next time, yours in Wealthing.